We Dance contestants, Lamont and Melissa Simmons. Listen, on November 6th, we're hitting the dance floor doing the merengue and the walks to raise money for Women Empowered International,
a nonprofit organization that inspires women worldwide to fulfill their dreams as well as encourages them to give back to local and global communities.
We hope you'll support us by watching and giving.
Hey, everybody. I'm ready to dance right now, just from that promo right there. So you guys, I want you to support our very own Mimi Melissa Simmons. If you go to her Instagram at Mel Sims, you will be able to click on, in her profile, actually, click on the fundraiser button there, and you'll be able to donate to Women Empowered International We Dance. But don't forget to join on that evening so that you can see Melissa dancing with her husband, Mr. Simmons, and let's support her. All right, you guys. So tonight, you guys, as you know, it is another FEM Talk Tuesday, and we are going to be talking about heart health. This is Women's Health Month, so we're going to be talking about heart health today. We have a special guest that will be joining us to discuss heart health with us. I'm getting tongue-tied today. What is happening here? It's been a busy day, you guys. It has been a busy day. But also, we have a segment from our very own She Talks. So, you guys, without further ado, I am going to let the young ladies of FEM Talk come on in the room. We have Brandy, the connector.
Hello.
Hello. We have She Talks.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. And we have our dancing mama here, Melissa Mimi Girl Bossed Up. All right, you guys, this is another episode of FEM Talk. I am super excited about this topic because as you all probably know already, that heart disease is the leading cause of death, not only in the United States, but also in the world. But before we get into the topic, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that have been in the news. One thing is how sad that we have lost Colin Powell. Yeah, so I wanted the ladies, you guys, to get an opportunity to just, say how you felt about, the death of Colin Powell. Somebody take it away.
I just felt like it's a great loss. He was a great man. And even as I said that and wrote that, in text messages the other day, knowing that he was not perfect, because that's the first argument that everybody wants to have. Oh, but he wasn't perfect. But that's even better. He was flawed, but he was smart, and he was compassionate, and he was dedicated. And it just seemed like it was just, I don't know, it was a shock.
Yeah, so,
absolutely. Yeah, great man.
Absolutely.
Wonderful things.
Absolutely. And then there's so much controversy now, right? They're trying to make it controversial about, his death and having passed away from COVID, being vaccinated, but with the understanding, right, that he had some underlying conditions too. But they're trying to make this so controversial, but let's just remember the man for who he was and what he did. So Mimi and Brandy, if you guys want to.
Just an amazing person, iconic in what he stood for. This is a young man born in the Bronx, went to ROTC and went and became 5-star general. Who's to say where you come from that you can't rise to just amazing feats. And like Shima said, we're all flawed, but his ability to really just represent who he was, who his family was. And no matter the party, he was always straight and arrowed. That's why he was able to serve no matter Republican president or Democratic president. He was so even keeled and so integral about everything he did. He just represented who the people were, and his love for his wife, his family is just amazing, and just a sad loss, an amazing loss for all of us because of the wisdom he was able to give so many people. But I think also even what I took from the narrative is that this disease still kills. And as much as you do, nothing's 100%. And the sad thing was he was already suffering from other things. And I think is one of his last interviews. He said, no matter what, no disease has taken a day away from his life. He's enjoyed and he has embraced every day God has given him. And he's grateful. So I think he learned from that. He knew that every day that he had on this earth was worth it. And he made something about it. And I think that's the legacy he leaves, not how he died, but how he lived.
Absolutely.
So, just an amazing man. Amazing
Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely. What about you, Brandy?
Oh, I absolutely agree with everything said. And the reason why I saw Colin Powell as such a huge influence is because he came up in a day and time that it was hard to do anything as a Black man. And still he reached the heights of what he was passionate about. So no matter your background, where you come from, if you have the will to do it and the ability to outthink the obstacles that will commonly be placed in front of you, you get anywhere in life that you truly want to be. And he was an example of that in his purest form. So regardless of his political affiliation, the man was still known to have impeccable ethics, morals, and always had the greater good in mind, no matter what his decisions and choices were as a general and beyond.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amen to that. Yes. So the other thing that I wanted to just bring out to light is just all of the controversy around. We're talking about one side versus the other. Now, all of the controversy around. Oh my goodness, his name escapes me right now, but not getting the vaccination. The basketball player, and I know him so well, and I love you guys.
Kyrie
Irving, thank you, Mimi. Over Kyrie Irving actually not getting the vaccination, choosing not to do that to his body, and now being forced, to not play right now because of the stipulations in New York, in the state of New York. So, I just wanted to mention that. I think that's something that needs to be highlighted because, again, I feel like that should be a person's choice. It should not be something that is forced on a person. People should have the right to choose what they want to do to their body, given the information that they seek, right? The information that's out there, and be able to make a decision on their own. So you guys can comment on that too. Give us a minute or so, and then we'll take it into our subject. But I just thought it was worth mentioning both things because Colin Powell,
that whole piece
amazing, but
with Kyrie Irving. Unfortunately, when you play for the leagues, the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, what they say goes. Period. What a lot of people fail to realize, and this is just my opinion of it all, honestly, is they're well-paid slaves. Period. Some of them get paid enough and they up their intelligence as far as what to do with those financial gifts that they earn while playing for these leagues. And some of them come out the league, and as soon as they're done playing, the money stops and they end up worse off than before they ever made it to be very wealthy and basically hit that celebrity status due to their gifts as athletes. But the same thing goes. Colin Kaepernick was driven out of the league for having an opinion about how to basically approach the things that go on in America in regards to Black lives, and rather than acknowledge that the situation was effed up and changes needed to be made, they rather blackball and keep him out of the league, even though now you look at people's helmets and it says what is it? Eliminate hate or Black Lives Matter or whatever it might be. All these little sayings are on the back of the helmets, but not very much is changing yet. But as we saw when LeBron James and all of them united and basically said, if you don't deal with this situation properly, we are not playing.
Right.
But they're not coming together on Kyrie Irving's behalf this time around. But
but with Kyrie, it's a little bit different, right? With Colin Kaepernick, right? This is a nationwide issue, right? With Kyrie, it's a personal issue, right? So understood they could potentially rally around him for this, but at the same time, it's a personal issue. But you mentioned something, you mentioned something, Brandy, when you talked about, how much they get paid. And I was listening to a radio show, and I won't mention the name because, listen, they're not a part of this show, and we don't get paid by them at all. So I won't mention their name, but they were talking about the fact that the amount of money that he gets paid should be enough for him to just take the vaccination, because that's what they said. And that disturbed me, because that should not be the case. This should still be, it's a personal choice for him, and it should be, regardless of what their stipulations are. I understand, and the reason why I'm saying this, if it were so that you could not get COVID and could not spread COVID from having the vaccination, then I could see the argument. But that is not the case, right? So that is the reason why, even more so, why it disturbs me. So,
there's another gentleman too, and I'll say this real quick and be done. But there's another gentleman that did get the vaccine, and he ended up having blood clot so bad he doesn't know if he'll be able to play again in the NBA.
Yeah, heavy is the hat that wears the crown. And I take this from, I work in public education, and every once in a while I have to remind everybody that we work for the public. So when you take on certain positions, when you sign those contracts, there are stipulations that are with it. I can't complain, to some point about the public, the public I work for, because I, unfortunately, as they call it, a public figure. As small as it is, that's what they consider me. So I'm open to that scrutiny. And so is he. They signed a contract. It's called the National Basketball Association. It's not called the private association. It's called the National Football League. It's called the National Baseball League. And they're not getting these millions for nothing. They have signed a contract that now that requires them to be available for every game. And if now there's a situation in their life,
I think this may need to be another show, right? I don't want to go too far down this road. But I did want to mention some hot topics. So I think that we're going to come back to this, and we're going to talk about this, because knowing, Melissa, that you are very close to this situation, because your daughter works for the NBA, right? So understanding that you have probably more insight than we do in that regard. But, I have a lot to say there too. So not to play devil's advocate, but
but that I think that's the controversy, that everything isn't always as black and white as we think it is. And we want to attach personal rights to a lot of things. And not to say that you don't have a personal right, but there's a cost to every decision you make.
Right.
That's the thing that we have to remember. We put ourselves into certain situations that now, when we get the, you get the spoils, but then you get the opposite.
And you have to think, most of it is at will. He's an at-will employee.
Well, and he has to be okay with that decision. But we're gonna switch this over, right? We're gonna switch this over, because we are here to talk about heart health. So I don't want to go too far down that road. But thank you, Phil McCormick, for joining. And Gloria Miller has a lot going on that she wants to say. So some of the things that Gloria is talking about here, Gloria, we are going to table those as well, because I think some of the things that she's mentioning here, we need to have another FEM Talk show on. But we appreciate you, Gloria, for putting in those comments and joining us this evening. We will get back to you on some of these things. All right, so we are here to talk about heart health, you guys. So heart disease, as I mentioned earlier, is the leading cause of death in the United States and also worldwide. And this is coming from the CDC and the World Health Organization. So it has been number one, and it has been for a while, but the numbers that I got were from 2019. 2020 has not been put out yet. But for 2019 in the US, it was 659,000, a little over 659,000. In the world, it shot up to 8.9 million in 2019. So that's a lot of deaths from heart disease. So I want to just talk a little bit about, some of the things that the heart does, number one, right? And why it's so important for us to take care of our heart. So did you guys know that your heart beats around 115,000 times each day? pumping about 2,000, listen to this now, in our little bodies, right? 2,000 gallons of blood through your body per day. That's a lot of blood, right? When you think about it. But, you know, your blood is needed. It has to get to all of your organs and your tissues so that your body can operate properly. And the heart is, right? Bringing it in, cleaning it up, and then sending it back out so that it can go to those organs. So you have your own cleaning system, right? You have a self-cleaning system right here. So if you are not keeping your heart healthy, your whole self-cleaning system, it's almost like, I'm going to give you an example. It's almost like an iron for my ladies here. All of you guys see in pictures because you're super creative. But it's almost like the iron, right? You know how you have a self-cleaning iron, but it gets all that junk on the outside? And it's hard to clean. That's almost what you're doing to your heart when you don't take care of it. All the junk that's caked up on the outside of your iron, that's what it is until you clean. Right? Right. So that's what happens to your arteries, though. When you think about it, that clogging happens to your arteries. And when your blood can't get through there, you know, your organs can't function properly. So you guys, we need to take care of our health. So one of the biggest things that we need to make sure that we are doing is allowing the oxygen that's in that blood to flow through our bodies, right? And if we are not able to clean up that blood and allow the oxygen also to get to those organs and tissues, it's going to be detrimental for our body. So have any of you ladies, first of all, do you ladies go and make sure that you are going to a cardiologist or some specialist that's going to make sure that your heart is actually in order? Do you maintain those doctor visits and make sure that your heart health is great?
I'm a bad child. I'm bad.
I don't go regularly, but I go when I think that there's something wrong, or if I feel like there's something wrong. Because of course, if without a heart condition, I wouldn't think to go to a cardiologist. Now, just so happen to have the same cardiologist as my mother, who does have heart disease and who has had 2 pacemakers. That little Energizer bunny has killed and is looking for the 3rd.
All right. Wow. And Jeanette, I'm just gonna say her name because she usually comes on to join us. So we love you, Jeanette, and so glad. Listen, she is an Energizer bunny. That's right.
He taking that pacemaker for a ride. Come on now.
When they took the first one out, he said, "Whew, you gave that pacemaker a run for his money."
I love it.
We gotta give you a new one.
That's
and now
amazing.
it's time for the 3rd, you know.
I love it.
But I don't think that anybody, I'm pretty sure she didn't, and we didn't as her children, didn't think about some of the things that we've done or eaten or ways we've not taken care of or have taken care of ourselves prior to finding out that she had heart disease.
Yeah.
The great part about it is your body, we talk about this with everything that we talk about in this show. Your body will let you know.
Absolutely.
You will see signs.
Absolutely.
You need to pay attention to the signs.
Absolutely. So let's go through some of those signs because you guys know I got them here. So listen, we have shortness of breath, chest discomfort, right? Left shoulder pain, right? Or when your left arm gets numb and tight, right? Irregular heartbeat, heartburn, stomach pain, swollen feet. Who knew? I didn't know that one. Lack of stamina. Lack of stamina. Sexual health problems. We don't want that. Feeling dizzy, sleep apnea, and constant fatigue. Those are some symptoms. Look, wait, you guys, look who's on. We were just talking about
Mama.
Hey, Mom. Yes, good evening,
talking about
Jeanette.
Yes, that is. But I mean, I think that's the beauty of where medicine has come. You know what I'm saying? And the ability for medicine to keep up with our bodies, so to speak. So when our bodies aren't given its best, there's now methods to really allow you to live that full and long life. So I applaud it. But I had I've been seeing a cardiologist for years. And one of the things that you didn't mention in go ahead, Mama. That's Mama.
It absolutely was. It was all good.
We got it. Yeah. We got to give Mama her due.
That's right. That's right.
But one of the things I know that you didn't mention was I was having brownouts, and and it started. I was in my 20s when it started, and I found out going to the cardiologist that it was related to my heart, and I forget the term they use, but my heartbeats weren't consistent. Arrhythmia, whatever you want to call it. But again, those are some of those things that you won't normally see, but I noticed, and where it peaked at. It's another thing where a lot of women find out that certain organs in their body isn't functioning as well as it should is when I was pregnant. Because when you're pregnant now, you're doing everything for two. So that's when it was identified, because now my body is working harder. My body. So now the brownouts became more evident that when I was having my first Ashley. So that's when I found out about it and started seeing a cardiologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this to you guys last week, I think it was, but my hemoglobin levels are low. So that's another thing that I have to be careful of, to make sure that I'm keeping them raised so that my heart will function properly, because the hemoglobin is what it has the oxygen, right? And if your oxygen is not getting to those organs. So another thing to look out for, particularly for the ladies, look out for those hemoglobin levels as well. I know
one of the things too was, when you were mentioning, some of the symptoms, jaw pain shocked me, because that's how I eventually went to the cardiologist, because you think it's something dental. And my dentist was like, there's nothing. I don't see anything in your jaw. You're not no problem. And he said, maybe you should get your heart checked out.
Wow.
Because that jaw pain can lead to heart issues.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Wow.
I've heard people who had heart attacks.
That is interesting.
And prior, they thought the only thing I can remember is having pain in my jaw.
Wow.
And I'm quick to think that that's my allergies, because we know, your sinuses run like that.
Right.
But that is also one of the symptoms.
Wow. So, I'm so curious about that. Like,
why?
I don't know about the jaw. I didn't know.
I'm gonna have to ask, and hopefully our guest will come on soon, because she'll probably know the answer to that. But, I've never heard of that, and I'm so curious, like how that is related. But
I've heard of it too. I've heard of it before too. Like, and again, and to your point, Tracy, I know this is a FEM Talk, and we're talking about women's health, but heart disease, it manifests differently in men and women. So knowing the symptoms if you're a man, and knowing the symptoms if you're a woman is very important, because it does manifest differently. And some of the things that seems very, like you said, jaw pain. I've heard of toothache also related. Some, a sign of heart disease. So all of those things, again, and we said this last week, your body, your body, and your body is starting to talk to you. Your body is communicating. We always think communication is somebody verbally talking. Communication is always verbal and nonverbal. So what are the nonverbal signs that your arm pain? Philip is on it tonight. Arm pain, being your nonverbal reactions of your body, pains, aches, all those things. When something's kind of out of whack, look into it.
That's right. That's right. So you guys, we're going to stop it here, because I want to talk a little bit about the risk factors when we come back. But we're going to have a segment by our very own Shima, She Talks, right after our commercial break. So we're going to get into this commercial break. You guys listen to this commercial. This is, I'm just going to say all of our coach, right? Because he's just amazing. And he is coming out with a new culmination of his life's work, you guys. So take a look at this commercial from Mr. Lauren Michaels Harris.
Hello, beautiful people. It's Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm here today with a question. Here it is. Are you absolutely ready to finally walk within your divine purpose? If your answer is yes, then guess what? I've got just what you're looking for. It's called P3, the Journey Series. Inside of this opportunity, I'm going to take you step by step through all the processes that have led me from point A, which is where I was, to point B, everything beyond where I was. It is going to show you how to take purpose and understand that it is force. Purpose is force. We're going to talk about passion and why passion is grit and how to use it to move through and get through to this divine place you've been wanting so long. And then finally, patience. Why is patience so important? Because we have to combine faith and centering in order to stay rooted right in the middle of the road so that we can stay focused on where it is we're headed. If this sounds like something you're interested in, it's time. Go ahead, follow the link, hit the blue button, sign up, come in and be a part of this experience. P3, the Journey Series.
Hey everybody, this is Shima. She Talks, you already know. My segment this week is really quick, and it's something that spoke to me when I was doing some searching for something that I was looking for myself. I am in the process of thinking hard about some permanent makeup, doing some eyebrow microblading and shadowing. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure a lot of you who know me know that I suffer from alopecia. So before I wanted to take this big leap, I wanted to research some people and try to find good people. You know, you take some referrals, you talk to people, you watch their work. And I ran across this woman, and one post out of her Instagram, out of thousands of posts in her Instagram, spoke to me, and as if she was speaking directly to me. And I just wanted to talk to her for a few seconds and find out why she does what she does. And we have a little clip from her, and I'm going to let you see it right now.
My career has allowed me to meet people of all different types of journeys, all different walks of life. And it's like, you know, I can help a cancer patient. I can help someone who, a breast cancer survivor, someone who's going through hair loss treatments, things like alopecia, trichotillomania. These are things that I've been able to, in my previous career in the medical field, I was able to assist. I'm actually able to help, you know, even more so sometimes, not saying that I'm, you know, better than a doctor, but sometimes when it comes to, you know, on the personal level and you just physically feeling better, I can actually help more, you know, just by giving a pair of eyebrows to someone who's going to wake up every day feeling so much better, you know. But I meet women and men that come with all different types of stories, and I love it. This is why I do what I do. You know, it's not the money, it's not all of that. That's a bonus, that's a plus, that's great. You know, that's how my family eats. But it's that you changed this for me, or, you know, you changed my life, or you made things easier, that you've made my mornings easier for me. This is why I do what I do. You know, knowing that I could just help someone just feel better waking up in the morning, or someone who wouldn't even, I've helped people who wouldn't even go to the beach because of, you know, the sun, and because of the water wiping away, you know, the eyebrows or the, you know, or their makeup. They didn't want that. They didn't want the person that they were with or a partner of them understanding that they didn't have eyebrows because they filled them in every day. So to just know that I can help women, or, you know, and men feel better about themselves is just, it's extremely rewarding. And it's exactly why I do what I do. I know exactly who you're speaking about. That is still my client, who I probably see her every 1.5 to 2 years, you know, to touch her up. And it's just, all I get is there's still tears. Years later, there's just tears. But this time is tears of joy. Tears of like, you've changed it. She went back to dating. She went back, you know, to living a normal life as she wanted to. So the fact that I can help someone, like that is absolutely, so rewarding for me, but it's why I go so hard for what I do.
It's just something about her and the way she talked. And I literally felt what she was saying and what her purpose and her passion was in the post. So much so that it made me reach out to her. And we had a consultation. And of course, that same passion and purpose and love for her people and the yearn to serve and help came through. And it made me feel safe with her, comfortable enough to make an appointment. So you guys will see her work next week, and we will hope to have her on the show to talk more about how her background in the medical field pushed her into this passion and purposeful life that she has decided to take as opposed to being pushed into it. That's my segment for the week. I was so touched by her, and I wanted you guys to hear. You'll see her information. My wonderful producer will put her Instagram information up on the screen, and we will be hearing more from Miss Kiki Matista at Inked Beauty Studio. That's my segment. I'm Shishi Talks. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey, everyone. We are back. Welcome back to FEM Talk. If you are just joining us, we are talking tonight about heart health, and I'm so glad you guys got an opportunity to see that. I wanted to flash up one more site for you because you saw the commercial for Mr. Lauren Michaels Harris. So go to laurenmichaelsharris.com. There you go to get more information on P3. So you guys, here we go. I'm going to let the ladies back in, and we are going to continue our conversation about heart health. Here we go.
Yeah, Shima.
Brandy, who is super excited about Shima Shishi Talks segment. Yes, I love it. We have Shima Shishi Talks coming
I'm
back.
rocking that red today, Shima. I love it.
In Greece.
Yes. And we have Melissa Girl Bossed Up. So that was an awesome segment.
Awesomeness.
Highlighting a wonderful woman out there who is helping people. Amazing. Love that. I love that. I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of that from you because that is just who you are. I love it.
Yeah.
So you guys, we are talking about heart health. And when we ended the segment before the commercial, we were talking about some of the symptoms that people could look for to try to recognize if there is some issue that is happening with their heart or potentially happening with their heart. So we did mention all of that, but I want to talk about some of the risk factors. Some of those things that we do as wonderful human beings and that don't really take care of ourselves that much. So let me give you some of the risk factors, and we can just have a discussion on that. High cholesterol, okay? And where does that come from? That comes from food for the most part, right? And that is your LDL cholesterol. There are two different kinds of cholesterol, just to put it simply, one bad and one is good. So that bad cholesterol, and that was our very own Brandy with the snap on us there. I love it. I love it. So why is bad cholesterol? I love that. Why is bad cholesterol an issue? It's an issue because it clogs your arteries, basically. It collects in your arteries and your blood vessels, which makes that blood that we were talking about earlier harder to flow through your body. Causes those issues, right? So the other thing is smoking. Another risk factor is smoking, you guys. Smoking definitely clogs the lungs, but also aids in clogging your arteries and your blood vessels as well. So you want to stay away from that. Obesity is one of them as well. And that's just when you potentially have too much fat in your body, that also makes it harder for that blood to flow. So that's another one. High fatty foods is a risk factor, you guys. So you want to stay away from high fatty foods, those particularly with saturated fat, right? You want to make sure that you're staying away from those high fatty foods. Inactivity is one of them. So it is proven that when you exercise more, you are allowing the blood to flow through your body a lot easier. So that's another risk factor. High blood pressure is another one. So usually that happens when you have too much sodium intake. Your pressure shoots up, and then that causes problems for your heart. It makes it harder for your heart to pump that blood throughout your body. So that's another one. And then unhealthy diet and lack of physical activity, which we talked about before, which they were on there kind of separately as well.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the risk factors. So let's talk about that, particularly in this country, right? We love to eat in the United States, and we love to eat a lot of bad foods, right? And I think after this pandemic, though, people are being a lot more health conscious, right? But just let's think about some of those issues, which a lot are related to food and lack of exercise. So let's talk about that, you guys. What do you think about this?
Wow.
Kind of low. I mean, for me, it's personal.
Mm.
I had heart, I had some of the factors you said, grew up eating a lot of, processed foods. Didn't know about healthy. Let's be honest. It wasn't something, and, grew up, from as far as I can remember, I've been overweight. Always struggled with my weight. Learn to embrace it because, you don't know better. But as I got older, and now the factors, like I mentioned, had my first child, gained weight, had the second one, gained more weight, had a third one, gained more weight. Again, not from so much eating, but, when you are pregnant, you put weight on, and, hopefully you take it off. A lot of times you don't.
That's right.
So, you see all those stars and all that kind of stuff, and they pop back into their body, but they got trainers and all kinds of stuff getting them back to that level. And so 3 kids later, blah blah blah, extra pounds later, I'm stuck, and my heart is I'm experiencing high blood pressure, diabetes, and all of the risk factors that attacks the heart. And I had to make a decision that I wanted to live longer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I want to come back to that. I want to come back to your decision and what you chose to do for yourself, if you don't mind sharing that story, and how, it has been since that point. But I want to give the other ladies an opportunity to comment as well on what they think about some of those risk factors out there.
Honestly, I think a lot of the things that we encounter, especially as women, as people in general, we're all, or many of us are brought up to believe that certain things run in the family, but very few of us are taught that certain habits run in the family, and
That's right.
therefore the health issues therefore run in the family. If you grew up eating macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, collard greens just about every weekend when you go to grandmama's house for Sunday dinner with the family, then eventually all that's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
But what I learned is some of it can be hereditary, but most of it is lack of activity, poor food choices,
behaviors.
and those of us that are in the higher risk factors or have already started experiencing some of the issues from heart disease or diabetes or different cancers and things. One of the things, because I found out probably about 2 years ago that I was heading in the wrong direction as far as my cholesterol goes, and my blood pressure. But my blood pressure wasn't bad. It was just kind of creeping up there. So interestingly enough, I was talking to a good friend of mine. Her name is Sandra Rodriguez. But Sandra had recently lost a lot of weight, and what she shared with me is that she started drinking cinnamon water mixed with lime. There's something about cinnamon and garlic and onions, raw onions and raw garlic, that has some type of effect on the circulatory system, as well as being able to boost your immune system. So I started drinking cinnamon water, and if you guys can't tell, I'm starting to shedding a little bit of weight. The only thing I've added to my routine is stretching a little bit more, and I've been trying to hit my elliptical for at least 10 minutes a day. I'm upping it slowly because I am a asthmatic, but I also did smoke for many years. So it took a long time for my body to get to the point that I was like, I got to do something different. So it's going to take a few years to get back on track again. And I'm okay with that because, again, everything comes with its consequences.
Yeah.
So,
But what you said though, and what I love about what you said is that, I'm going to up it, like, right, progressively up it. So it's the steps that you take to get you there, to get you to healthy. I think people always think that they have to do things cold turkey and you automatically, like, you got to go to the gym and exercise like crazy. And you have to, like, cut every food choice out that you've been used to for the last 40 or 50 years, or, whatever your age is. And that sometimes is not realistic for people. Some people can do that, other people cannot, so you have to give yourself
and food choices where I live now are harder to come by. Like when I lived in Colorado, I had access to good wholesome foods like the Korean food and the Japanese food, authentic Korean, Japanese, Filipino. I had a variation of foods and I predominantly leaned towards the healthier options. But here in the South, it's like everything's fried, everything's barbecued, everything. Oh my God. It's so hard to find good cuisine that doesn't like kill you over time.
I actually I can identify with that now, Brandy. Now that I am in the South, it is a lot
more diverse in New Jersey, huh?
Yeah, a lot more diverse in New York and New Jersey. However, I will say this: I am in a neighborhood that is a little newer than most. It's like maybe 2000. Like they built the high school in 2015, so they are getting better. So there are a few places that are focused on like the very clean eating. So I'm there, but I have definitely treated myself. I'm not going to say cheated because listen, you make choices and you enjoy them and you live with it. You give yourself grace. But I have definitely treated myself to some good Southern food since I've been here. But there are not as many choices as there are in the northern or the northeastern part of the country, I should say.
Right. Or even other parts of the country. But the one thing that I've noticed is areas with high military populations tend to have the most diverse cuisine. Unless you're in New York, New Jersey, or PA.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back to Mimi. Actually, I don't know, Shima, if you wanted to say something, because it looked like you had something on your mind before I go to Mimi, because I want her to talk about her journey and what she's decided to do and how it's been going.
Well, I was just really thinking about, like Brandy said, we grew up with these ways of eating and, we don't know that they weren't the best until we got old enough to really make our own decisions on what we were putting in our bodies.
Yeah.
The thing about that is as you learn and like you said, as you make your own decisions, your body changes. And I think about regenerative properties because we talked about smoking, and my mom used to smoke and she stopped smoking, and her lungs went back to being pink after all those years of smoking. They were clear. She doesn't have any problems with that. So when you think about some of the other things that your body goes through and tax your heart, not even the stuff that you need to focus on, it becomes a harder fight for you to be healthy. And like you said, the working out and the less stress and these other factors. And as you get older, some people are not gonna be able to pound at the gym. And perfect example, you made me think of this, Brandy, when you said it. Back I used to power lift and really bodybuild the kind of in high school. That's where these thighs came from. In high school, and I thought it was fine. It was great because I was younger. And then mid 20s and 30s, killing myself on the treadmill for hours and loving it because it was good cardio. Those, as much as I would like to do that now, that I can't because my body is different and it has changed. But the smart, like you were saying, those smart moves is I work out every day now for 5 days a week for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And even if I'm not losing, which is more of what I'm taking, because that's my trainer up there in the corner, left corner. I am stronger now than I've been in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And my heart, I know that that is only helping my
That's
heart.
good.
I gotta stop eating fried chicken and buffalo wings.
Yeah. I want to mention
I changed the
something.
way that I cook those things. I still eat them, but I changed the way that I cook those
Yeah,
things.
and
Air
that
And I
is
don't eat
key
them
That's
too.
the
regularly.
thing.
That
Yes.
is key too. And I also wanted to mention, because we talked about how we grew up, right? And how we grew up on certain foods. Well, when you think about it as well, though, the food was a lot better when we grew
Back
up,
then.
right? I can remember New Jersey had a lot of farms, right?
Yes.
When we were growing up. So it was easier to get good food. So even if it was butter, right?
It was
The cows were responsibly taken care of, right? So
Mhm.
that when you think about that, the chickens were raised better. So you have to give some grace to the time period that we were in when we grew up, and the food and where it came from, because there was more focus on real farms. So I just wanted to say that too, because listen,
Very true.
I had a great grandmother who lived until she was 98 years old. God bless her heart, but she was still in her right mind. She was still quite mobile. She was still very feisty. So I just wanted to mention that, because there's a meaning, and it means something. The food that we had before really does mean something. And the fact that she was still very aware and cognizant of who she was and all of us in our family. And so that it means something. So I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Absolutely.
It's very different these days. So we have to be mindful of that too.
Yes.
So, Mimi, tell us about your journey, what you decided to do to change your life, and how that's been going.
So, like I said, weight has been from an issue for me all my life, and like you all said, it catches up with you. And as much as I was never, I didn't grow up eating fried foods and stuff like that. So that's another, I think people always see people that are overweight, or call it obese, call it whatever you want, as, oh, they just eat McDonald's all day. And that's not the case. Like I said, a lot of, like, almost half of the weight I had came from being pregnant and having children, and and not running back to the gym after I had all three of them, to take it off. I ran back to work to feed them. So, so that's what I did. So, long story short, I I'm 50. I'm struggling. I can feel I'm struggling. I'm on high blood pressure pills. I'm on, diabetes pills. I'm on a couple other pills, and I went to the doctor, and she says, "Oh, we need to up it." And I was like, "Enough. I can't. I need to do this." So I sought out. I started going to a weight loss surgeon, but I'll say this: for the first 2 years, all I did was work with a dietitian. And they helped me manage my weight. And over those first 2 years, based on what the dietitian was helping me do and everything, I did lose 20 pounds, which I was excited about.
All right.
Yay.
Yes.
However, I'm getting older, and the symptoms are getting more progressively worse. And one of the things, I decided to have weight loss surgery. So and what was real interesting, because they take you through a battery of tests. So it's not something you could just say, "I want surgery tomorrow." No, it's something that you really have to get a whole bunch of tests, including psychological and all that stuff. So you just can't jump into it. However, in going to it, one of the things that really piqued my interest was, they said, once you have the surgery and you start losing your weight, it will reverse 98% of the factors you have. 98%. And
so tell us, like, where your heart was before, and the symptoms that you had versus after.
Yeah. So, again, I was on high blood pressure, those high numbers. And literally, actually, the day of the surgery, coming out of surgery, I was taken off of all of my medicines. I was taken off of my high blood pressure medicine. I was taken off of the diabetes medicine. I was taken off of the water pills they were giving me. I was taken off of everything.
Wow.
And I was like, it's just this first day. But my numbers after surgery were excellent. And I have, and I can proudly say I went to the doctor last week and all of my numbers are still fantastic.
Yes.
One.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. And it's worth it for me to not have to be under 120 over 80 without any medication is phenomenal. To have my A1C A1C numbers normal.
Yeah.
Absolutely normal. To have my cholesterol numbers at a perfect level.
Yeah.
All of that stuff to me is worth it. And I feel great. You talk about being overweight and then you said, but the other symptom is lack of mobility. You're not doing any exercise. I can admit that I was so heavy that exercising became an issue. So how do you exercise when the weight is causing you not to be able to be mobile? I had knee issues. I was seeing an orthopedic surgeon and he was looking at my knees. He says, "You're too young for knee replacement right now. I want them to last longer." And but he says, if you just take 20 pounds off, it'll help you, because 20 pounds on your knee is 4 times, just 20 pounds. 1 pound is 4 times the weight on the knee. So 1 for your knee, 1 pound equals 4 for your knees. So for every pound is worth 4 pounds. That's why knees and hips go out so fast, because every pound for your joint is 4. So he said, if you would just take off 20, that'd be like 80 pounds off of your knees. So all of these were factors, talk about heart health, but body health. And for me, I wanted my heart to pump and pump well. To your point, the blood was thick because of the diabetes and the arrhythmia I talked about from having the children, and taxing my heart for having 3 children. So all of these things, all of these factors led me to this. And I honestly say today, I am extremely happy. It's the best decision I ever made. I wish I made it earlier, and I recommend it to anybody. I think we get so caught up in, and if you could take it off, without the surgery, go for it. Go for it. If you're struggling, there's alternatives.
I think that goes back to, and I think that goes back to just being able to make that choice for yourself and know that with the choice that I make, I'm going to put the work in, right? Because for both, it takes you putting in the work. You talked about all the tests and everything that you had to go through beforehand, that you had to work with a dietitian and get your weight down before you could even go for the surgery.
That's right.
So even that process takes work. Right. And then let's talk about the after for both sides of it. If you do it on your own or if you get the surgery, the after still takes work, right? It is a lifestyle to take care of yourself and to take care of your health.
Absolutely.
And to take care of your heart. It is an everyday process. So regardless of the route that you decide to go, you still have to do the work. Like I'm sure, and I'm going to say this for you because I'm your friend, I know that you're doing the work every day. Right? We don't do the work perfect. None of us do the work perfectly, right? But as long as you continue step by step to do the work every day and put that in and think about your health on a regular basis, you can stay healthy. So I wanted to talk about a couple of other things before we go. So we've got like 5 minutes left. So a couple of other things, and one of them we mentioned, so I'll mention that one first, is stress. Right? We have to make sure that we also minimize the stress that we are under, which is quite difficult sometimes, particularly at home and in the workforce, right? It comes from all angles. So I just wanted to mention that you have to minimize your stress because that'll be better for you as well. You want to make sure that you are reducing the amount of added sugar that you take in. Please do that. Lower sugar levels are much better for your body and much better for your heart. Make sure that you are doing that. Make sure that you are drinking water. Yep, staying hydrated. As Brandy puts her glass down.
There's some water in there.
That's right.
But making sure that you are drinking water, which definitely has an effect on your heart. Staying hydrated also allows you to pump the blood through your body more efficiently. So I wanted to mention those things as well. And then the last one that I wanted to mention is sleep. Make sure that you are getting sufficient sleep. That is difficult. The stress and the sleep kind of go together too for most people. But
and people and they sleep on sleep.
Yes.
How important sleep is to this whole factor.
Yes.
And good sleep, because a lot of people don't have good sleep. They go to bed, but they don't sleep well.
Yeah, there's no REM sleep, and
there's no REM sleep.
REM sleep. And the reason why,
and
sleep is so important, you guys, is because your body starts to restore itself and replenish itself while you are sleeping. If you are not getting that sleep, particularly if it's progressive, right? If it becomes a habit of not getting enough sleep, and listen, I'm guilty of it. I will say that.
Oh, yes.
But if you are not getting enough sleep, your body is not going to restore itself. And then your heart works harder during the day to keep your blood circulating throughout your body, to keep your organs functioning properly. It has to work a lot harder. If you've ever noticed when you have not, especially if it's been chronic, if you have not had a lot of sleep, that's when shortness of breath starts to come in. You can tell that your heart is working overtime. Your stamina is horrible. You're fatigued. You're ready to try to go to sleep, right? But you don't, because you've got 10 million things that you're trying to do. And that's why you didn't get sleep the night before. You guys, listen, go to bed, get some sleep, get
7 hours.
That's right. And if you have to do a process that's going to allow you to get some sleep so that you can allow your heart to restore and replenish. The heart is one of the most important organs in your body, right? Because it is helping everything else that you have in your body, from your brain and every organ all the way down, right? So you want to make sure that you are getting that sleep as well. So I did want to mention that. I'm glad that you said that people sleep on sleep, because they definitely do. People say, I'm going to, no sleep. I'm going to work until I die. Nope. That's not realistic. It's not good for you. And it is ridiculous. I'm going to say this. I'm going to put it out on the limb. It is absolutely ridiculous to say that you're going to work until you die and not get any sleep. Do not follow that regimen. I don't know who said it first, but don't follow that regimen.
Right.
Don't follow that person, those people. Right. Right. Go to bed.
If you want to work until you die, please do, but get some sleep in.
Get some sleep.
Right.
Put some sleep in there.
I want to touch on that stress piece though, real quick.
Absolutely.
A lot of us experience a whole lot of stress, but the best way to control stress is to control your mind and how you embrace or see it. Absolutely. That is the only way that you can think your way around stress.
Absolutely.
It sounds really hard, but there's a certain few steps that you could take to start to change your mindset in regards to how you react to things that stress you out, that will reduce your stress levels. Because when you say, hey, am I going to care about this in 5 days?
Right.
You going to just go ahead and let it go right then and there, because nobody wants to have a heart attack over somebody else's stupidity. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Come on now.
That's right.
People go on and live their lives and you still upset.
Right. Go on and live your life and move on. I love it.
Exactly. So you guys, this has been another episode of FEM Talk. Of course, that hour does go by pretty fast. We love you all. We thank you all for joining and commenting. And we hope to see you next week on FEM Talk at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on E360 TV. You can find us on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Android TV, Apple TV, the E360 app, and right here on the FEM Talk Facebook show page, as well as the Tracy Randolph YouTube page. We love you guys. Good night.
Ooh, good night.